I have.
Okay, perfect. And we are live. Hello,
Yes.
Sławik.
Hello, Alicia.
Happy Wednesday.
And same to you.
Good to see you again in this reality modeling midweek digest
Yes.
or update.
We are getting some regularity here. So
Yeah, we are actually, yes. Um, so the last two live chats that we've had were focused on orbit, maybe two or three. And today we're going back to the roots. We're going back to context capture. There's a lot of noise. Well, not noise, but like a lot of hype going around the LiDAR at the moment. Like LiDAR seems to be everywhere, and I think it's well for many reasons, but one of the main ones is the iPhone 12 Pro having this LiDAR sensor integrated in the phone,
yeah,
which I
that's true.
find it just fascinating. I want to get one of those for myself.
Yeah, we should ask.
um,
We should ask Bentley for that to send us
exactly. Yeah, that is my plan.
for the review. That's true.
Exactly. So I wanted to show today how we can generate a hybrid 3D mesh in context capture. We call a hybrid 3D mesh the combination of point cloud and imagery. So I think it was very relevant, and quite a few people asked me about this. Um, tell us how this works, and how are you going to
Sure.
present this today?
Right. I'm gonna just start with my screen share.
Okay.
So as we know, or not yet know, it's okay. I just share screen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna start here because I'm
Hmm.
gonna start with our two possibilities.
I
One
can
and two.
see
All
your
right.
desktop now. Yeah, your
Um, okay.
context capture
So
viewer.
both methods has their advantages. Like
Hmm.
we know already that point cloud gonna be the most important thing that this is a direct measurement. So we are just sending infrared laser, which gonna measure a point cloud, millions of points on each station. So we're gonna get kind of discrete mathematical representation of the object in the world. Nice, that's great. But also, as soon as laser scanners came with camera built in, and the camera after scanning took some pictures, then we can also even add a color to this same laser beam. Then
Hmm.
we came out with the color point cloud, like you can see here. So that was
Hmm.
another step forward. It was really great. And now, what we can do with that? As
I guess
soon,
that was already a huge step in terms of like handling that point cloud and making it easier to handle it and to
yeah,
extract information from it, going from
exactly.
no color to a texture, well, a color point cloud. Yeah.
Exactly, because a
Mm.
color gives us, first of all, a texture and a material. So, in case we are working with as architects, for example, we can just recognize what kind of material is that, or just how to reconstruct this in the new model. Of course, those pictures can work separately as a panoramas for us, so we can still use them as a help. But basically, we
Hmm.
also can use the same point cloud, which is colored, and which is also important, having information about the scan position written. So, for example, E57 format, PTX format. So we can calculate a normals for each point. A normal is information from where the point has been, in fact, measured. So where is the perpendicular normal vector going from the point? So with this information, we can gather information about the, let's say, kind of relation between two neighbor points on the point cloud. And then with use, for example, of our context capture, which is one of its feature, we can build a 3D mesh like you can see here. So right now we are jumping from discrete representation
Hmm.
to the continuous representation of the object. Right now we are not having a point cloud. We're just gonna build a mesh between the points, as you can see here. and the mesh will be containing a lot of information about the corners, about the details. It will miss, it will have some disadvantage of not everywhere the color and the texture will look perfectly, but then
That's due to the photogrammetric process, isn't it?
yes, that's the thing that point clouds, it's just finding, let's say, the best match between the neighbor points, but it's still not based on the pictures itself. So at the left we
Mm-hmm.
can see a result. Let's take those scratches here. They look not bad, okay, but we can see that we don't have that much sharpness. So
Mm-hmm.
take a
Mm-hmm.
look now on the right side. This is taken from a drone picture.
Mm-hmm.
Looks okay. If we would take the same but just closer oblique pictures, because this example we are looking right here has been taken by orbiting in the air, so we are mostly focused on the roof here, but we could by oblique picture taken it from ground, we could gather a lot of information about the texture, and then we would have much better result coming from the photogrammetry. Also, what
Yeah.
is important, there is one bigger advantage of in case of scanning, for example, buildings mostly, it's the roof. So basically, we can scan a roof. That is not a problem because we can use a range of the scanner, which could be even few hundred meters at some, and even more if we are talking about the impulse laser scanning.
Mm-hmm.
But there's one more problem, and I even created a drawing here. Hopefully, it gonna be uh, visible at some point. I'm not sure why it's not showing. Just a second. I'm gonna run it once again. Yeah, now it
Yeah,
should
I
be
can see it now. Okay.
visible. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay. So what's the problem? Laser beam has its angle just falling on the surface, and in case we are,
Mm-hmm.
for example, scanning a roof which will have a rather small angle, then as you see, okay, this is really simple, of course. Here, that's I just used the paint for to just really simple representation. We're gonna get really sharp angle here of the laser beam, which just affects hugely the accuracy of the measurement here. So
Yeah.
first of all, the laser beam gonna be just kind of splashed on the surface. Then the reflection will be much higher. The noise will gonna appear. So the other way would be to just climb on the other building, try to take it from above, but not always we can do it. Or maybe that's the highest, tallest building in the area. So in which in case it's really often. So when we are scanning churches or some monumental buildings, they are quite huge. So we
Mm-hmm.
cannot uh, scan the roof properly. Then we can use a photogrammetry. So we are using advantage of the height, and then as you see, the comparison look much better in case of photogrammetry here. So
Mm-hmm.
even if we can gather much more accurate data on laser scanning in case of the details, then even few pictures can win in this competition here. But what about idea of merging those two together, which is possible?
Mm-hmm.
And then we are going to the last step. We can go and merge them like here, because and one more before we're gonna, the photogrammetry will just have another disadvantage of changing the shapes if it will not get full coverage, as you see. So we are missing some information from, for example, from
Mm.
below the building, below the roof. But if we're
Yeah.
gonna merge those two together,
Then you get the best
then
of both data sets.
yes,
Yeah, of both
then
sources.
we are just merging the color from photogrammetry. Of course, we can decide here whether if we would like to
Mm-hmm.
choose from which source we are using the color, but we are gathering roofs in a really good detail, which will be also
Mm-hmm.
tightened up to the point cloud in case of any, let's say, uncertainties of the point,
Yeah.
and also great details on even the smallest one.
So in this case, you're using the so sorry, my question is, does the software then allow you to choose what to use from the two sources? So I guess that for this data set, I would like to use the geometry of the point cloud and the texture of the imagery.
That's right.
Can I do
So
that? Okay.
yes, yes, and also what is a good advantage of photos and the drone imagery? In case, let's just imagine that we are taking a bigger. For example, we are scanning in winter. Okay, so the
Mm-hmm,
day is
mm-hmm,
rather short, and just imagine how long it take to scan big area. And the sun is
yeah.
also moving, so the colors still changing. At the end, we are just ending with because scanning, terrestrial laser scanning, especially, gonna take rather long time, going
Mm-hmm,
around some bigger area, and then we can finish with the product we'll have, which will have just some kind of different lighting on each side, and it will just look natural. But with the drone, we can just fly it with a much shorter time to gather and also proper pictures
mm-hmm.
with the proper quality of course of the camera, and then we are just finishing with product with much more natural colors at some point, because they first of all, the mesh will just get information. What information is, I'm going to show it here. If we are using only point cloud, then we have a point here, we have a point
Mm-hmm.
here, and here we don't know what is what are going to be happening here, because we
Mm-hmm.
have to interpolate a color, make it interpolation. And with the pictures, we have information because we just cut a picture and we got information here stored. So that is also the big difference here.
Okay.
So
And how
that's the magic,
mhm.
in hybrid solutions.
And how easy it is to process this? Like coming from someone that has only or is only familiar with photogrammetry, how easy it is to generate a hybrid in ContextCapture hybrid 3D mesh?
It's it's really easy in case of connecting those two. Of course, we have to follow some rules in case of preparation the point cloud, because as we know, they like to be really huge data. So we have to compress it a little bit. We have to follow some rules in case of format. So those E57 to store information about the normals, coming from the position of the scanner or from the trajectory, if we are talking about mobile laser scanning. Then everything just ends up with finding coordinates for both systems. So we are taking coordinates from point cloud, then we are just applying those on our triangulation, and everything just go by one automatically. So
Hmm.
it's, I would say, it is really easy because we can use then a point cloud as a ground control points. We can just
Okay.
exchange it. So this is
So it doesn't change the workflow is not is basically the same, but adding like an extra source of information,
yeah.
um, so to speak. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yes, we
And
can.
in any case, if sorry, go for it.
In fact, we can, if we have, for example, a geo-referenced point cloud, so which already
Hmm.
got, for example, let's say I would scan this building, yeah, and use some
Hmm.
targets for the scanning. I
Hmm.
can use the same targets for photogrammetry, and they will have like global coordinates, and then I just put into the software. Point cloud will be already geo-referenced in native software. Point photos gonna be geo-referenced by using of the ground control points, and then I don't have to be worried about the effect because I'm gonna finish on the right position of the
Hmm.
geometry and the photos.
Yeah. 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 I understand. And what is the in terms of like processing time, what is the difference of like, do you have an experience of like how much longer does it take, or is it shorter to generate a hybrid 3D mesh versus a normal like a photogrammetry, sorry, 3D mesh, but I was going to say normal a
Yeah,
photogrammetry 3D mesh.
it will depend, of course, of the size, and we have to keep in mind that we have some limitations on RAM memory here. So sometimes we're gonna also decimate the point cloud a little bit inside the software, and it will rather take a little bit longer time to to just gather more information from both sides sources. But in numbers, that's hard to say because it depends on the size mostly. So
Hmm.
it doesn't grow linear. It could be different for each source.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, and what, in your experience, what would be the applications or the key advantages of having like a, like, obviously this is the best 3D mesh that you can generate, that you can possibly generate based on photogrammetry and laser scan data. Um, what is the point compared to, and I know we talked about this in another live that we had, 3D mesh versus point cloud, which is
Mhm.
available in our blog post. Sorry, in our blog, in virtuosity.com. But let's talk about that again. What is the main advantage compared to working with a point cloud versus working with a 3D mesh, um, generated with that point cloud?
The main advantage will be, let's say, we are taking strong sides of point cloud, which is the accuracy of the geometry
Hmm.
and gathering the details, especially of the thin structures like the pipes, some thin beams and the metal plates.
Hmm.
And we are taking the stronger part going from the photogrammetry, which is the color and texture information. So then that's the stronger part that we just connecting those two, and that's the main advantage here.
Hmm.
We can, for example, just collect more picture information,
Hmm.
and if we, for on of course on the model, here we
Hmm.
maybe would have a little bit more problem to find. But let's say, okay, you see that plate here.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, if we would have only point cloud, I'm gonna show you here. It would, the result will be much worse because it's hard to interpolate letters like you
Hmm.
see.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
here the difference is even from pictures only from above, it's looking much better because then we can, for example, take the photogrammetry and the information exactly from the
From
object,
that
like
image. Hmm.
plates, the numbers,
Hmm.
some information about the producer also can be stored. So,
Hmm.
that is a difference.
Yeah. So it's about, from what I'm hearing, is like it is easier to work with, and that could potentially optimize the workflow because you can extract more information in a much easier way. Um, and I think I want to talk about also the side of the project delivery, because I find that, this, digital twin, if we can call it that way, it opens up a new way for like that project delivery. So if I am a surveyor and my customer is asking me, I don't know, specific, deliverable, contour map, or I don't know, it's like, I don't know, actually you
Mhm.
need to help me here, but um
Yeah,
you know delivering that project, that same data with the digital twin, so with that reality mesh, that real representation of the asset, that my customer is asking, I think that also presents, an opportunity in itself of gaining
of
a
course.
competitive edge, and generating more value of your, laser scan data.
Yes, that's the thing that, for example, now we have an option by, for example, cloud services to
Hmm.
load huge and optimized data for the customer. So we don't, not in every case we have to vectorize 3D model by manually the elements. We can decide that
Hmm.
we're gonna create accurate, production with photogrammetry and the point cloud together. So
Yeah.
the accuracy will be rather high, and it can still work as a 3D model. Of course, it won't be a parametrical, but in many cases, our customer just want to get a shape and the geometry of the his property
Hmm.
to make the analysis by himself.
Yeah.
So in this case, we're just cutting off the modeling because before that we had a problem to upload such huge data, or our customer didn't had any way to review it. Right now
Mm-hmm.
we have so many cloud solutions or even web ready solutions that he just need a web browser and then he will be able to open all production, take
Mm-hmm.
any measurement he wanted. So
Yeah.
that's eliminate a lot of work.
Work and miscommunication,
Yep.
and you get a context for your data, whatever that is. So like I think it brings a lot of value
That's true.
in many aspects, project delivery, ease of work as well, and optimization, for the actual user and customer that it needs to
Yes.
generate those deliverables. So it's all
Yes.
benefits. It's all benefits.
It's all, just more words here. 3D mesh, when we are just delivering this one, doesn't have that much hazard and chance of misclick information like on the point cloud was, because
Mhm.
on the point cloud, customer had to or use sections or different techniques to get the best view to measure something. But here, in case I would like to measure any distance, uh, the chance I'm gonna click a point which is behind, for example, this window here,
Mhm.
is really small. It's impossible, in fact, because this is a continuous representation. So we have everything covered here. This is
Mhm.
not,
Mhm.
in case of point cloud, I would have a chance that I'm gonna click this window, but also I'm gonna have chance that the point I'm just trying to,
It's
choose gonna be point behind, on
behind
the
the
different
window.
wall.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So right here we are getting really good like results just by clicking, and that's why
yeah,
this is much easier for the customer to use.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I understand. How many, in your opinion, how many customers, or how you come actually from laser scan background, and you've worked a lot in the field. Do all surveyors use point clouds? Are they generating 3D meshes out of point cloud? How is this a new thing? Because I what is your
Mhm.
experience on this? Because like most of our customers are drone, like they use their own data,
Yeah,
um, and it's mostly focused on civil engineering. And we see a lot of customers now asking, "Oh, can I use my point cloud as well? Can I use my laser scan data?" I think it's coming, but I don't think it's yet as
yeah.
consolidated as. Or what is your opinion about that?
Let's say that, okay, now in the market, each, let's say, bigger and more serious company, surveying company,
Hmm.
is having a laser scanner, or the smaller one, the smallest, like BLK 360 from Leica, or
Hmm.
they go bigger. Let's say for the one of the more optimized for RTC 360 or Farrell Focus. So they have already a system to do it, and those are pretty robust. So they can take a lot of possible different model. They can produce a point cloud, but in case of creating mesh from point cloud, this is still a little bit tricky, because many softwares will just miss information about, as I said, normals from picture from the points, or they will be, for example, rather expensive solutions.
Hmm.
So if we are talking here about our bundle, this one is maybe has a great advantage, because in price of some standalone software which will be only dealing with point cloud, you can get not only you know point cloud plus photogrammetry plus hybrid
Hmm.
solution, but also a microstation build engine, which is a ContextCapture editor.
The
So
editor, yeah.
this let's say this set of the software, especially if we are talking on the advanced workflow, is an end-to-end solution. So
Yeah,
that would be the difference, that you didn't have to pay for each license separate to just gather
yeah,
one project.
yeah. So it's also like, if you have invested a massive amount, I don't want to say a massive, but like a quite significant amount on the hardware, the investment, and they normally, the vendor gives the software to consume the point cloud. but sometimes that software is not maybe the best for handling and for consuming that
Mm.
point cloud. So what you're saying is that it's only recently that software like ContextCapture have opened up to the LiDAR market, and they are presenting a new possibility at a very affordable price. So it's no
Yeah,
longer, like something that only very large survey companies can access to, but also like one surveyor companies can go for a 3,000 euro a year solution that will enable them to generate more revenue out of the data, out of their laser scan data
yeah,
potentially.
that's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's say that we already have a native format software for registration of the scans, because that's mostly comes with the scanner we
Hmm.
purchased, and we are looking for something that will process the end results.
Hmm.
So then
Hmm.
then I think it's still a good option to consider our reality modeling bundle, because it's just containing few different solutions at
Yeah.
once.
Okay. What about the delivery? And with this, we can close the live chat. But like, how do you deliver the hybrid 3D mesh through? You're showing now the viewer, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the
That's the
viewer.
okay.
So that's the first option. I would say the strongest one, because here customer gonna get few tools, like for example volume calculation, which is, I would say, a game changer. He doesn't need to ask you each time for volume calculation. He can do it by himself, and he will gonna get some results. Of course, in case of, let's say, more complicated things, then you always can deliver, let's say, more advanced calculation. But the viewer, so the first thing, not even speaking about possibility of creating animations here in viewer. Second way, it would be our web ready solutions. So you need only a web browser, which has to be set. We of course provide
Mm-hmm.
a file and the instruction how to set your majority of the web browsers right now. And
Mm-hmm.
the advantage is that it doesn't need to install anything. So if they have a really
Yeah.
bad IT department which is not allowing to do anything, then maybe that's the solution. And the third solution,
I hope there is no one from IT department watching this video right now.
they are many of those. Yeah, if you're listening to us, be nice to people. Yeah. Uh,
This is so funny because like I think we all have the same opinion about our colleagues from the IT department is
yes,
like
unfortunately. But yeah, but those from Bentley, they are really nice. Yeah.
they're if you're watching, you're very nice.
Yes. Please don't hurt us. Okay, but going back, the last solution is our cloud solution. So
Yeah.
context share. This one you can say more about it, Alicia, because as far as I know, this is also a solution based on Project Wise.
Yes. Project Wise is the repository of Bentley systems, so it's very much kind of like a Dropbox, but for very large organizations and enterprises. So it just sits in there in Project Wise, and it's just a 3D viewer for that environment. Um, so yeah, many options to share, but I like the we've seen in the last few webinars with Flarefleet and sorry Fairfleet and iFly and
Yeah.
I think also Falker. They the three of them. I think they developed their own web-based platform to
Yes.
visualize and um, make some measurements and inspection. Actually, the one from iFly from Renko was really cool with the kind of like an inspection reports, live inspection reports on the website.
Yeah.
So this is a lot of drone service providers are just developing their own platform, which I think is very cool.
That's true.
So okay. So that was very interesting. That was very enlightening. I think what's gonna be for next week, Sovik?
That's a good question. We have to give an announcement about it. Uh,
We need. I think we need to keep with contest capture for maybe for the rest of the year, and just maybe show
yes,
some tricks and cool workflows.
sure.
And that you probably are delighted with this request.
We're gonna find something out. Maybe one more live before the Christmas, and yeah, that would be
Only one. We.
yes, yes. Then after the time, everyone will just think about the presents and and going to the leave.
Okay, that sounds like a plan. Perfect.
Right.
So, chat to you then. Thanks
Okay.
everyone for joining.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Bye. Bye, Sovik.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Thank you.